In today's video, we have some unfortunate breaking news. Make sure you stay tuned to find out how this port strike can affect you and I. So let's go ahead and get started. But before we get started, welcome back, everyone. So very happy to have you back for another update. There is a port strike looming. Longshoreman workers at ports from Maine to Texas are set to walk off the job early Tuesday, staging what could become the most disruptive strike to the U.S. economy in decades. The strike could stop the flow of a wide variety of goods over the docks of almost all the cargo ports on the East Coast and Gulf Coast. Everything from bananas to European wine to liquor, along with clothing, toys, household goods, European autos. Also affected could be parts needed to keep U.S. factories operating and American workers in those plants on the job. So as you can see, this port strike can affect everyone. So make sure you keep listening. On one side of negotiations is the United States Maritime Alliance, which uses the acronym USMX. It represents the major shipping lines, all of which are foreign owned, as well as terminal operators and port authorities. It is facing a strike threat by the International Longshoremen Association, which represent 85,000 members overall. Now, while the union says there are about 50,000 members covered by the contract, the USMX puts the number of jobs at the ports closer to 25,000, with not enough jobs for all the workers in the union to work daily. But if those union members walk out, as is widely expected, the strike will shut down 36 locations at 14 port authorities along the East Coast and Gulf Coast. Depending on the duration, a strike could mean shortage of consumer and industrial goods, possibly driving up prices again. We already have enough of that. We do not need any more increases in prices. In addition, the halt of supplies of parts needed by U.S. factories could disrupt those plant operations and even lead to temporary layoffs, unfortunately. And the ports involved include the Port of New York and New Jersey, the nation's third largest port by volume of cargo. But it also includes ports with other specialties. Port of Wellington in Delaware, the nation's leading banana port, bringing in a large share of America's favorite fruit, including my fruit. I need my bananas daily, so this strike need not happen. According to the American Farm Bureau, 1.2 million metric tons of bananas come in through the ports that could go on strike next week, representing over a fifth of the nation's bananas. Nearly 90% of imported cherries, 82% of hot peppers, and 80% of imported chocolate all come through containers offload at those particular ports, according to the Farm Bureau. It said the situation is just as significant for beverages, with 80% of imported beer, wine, whiskey, scotch, and 60% of rum arriving at East and Gulf Coast ports. Spirits are the top import of the Port of New York and New Jersey. Also, the Port of Baltimore, which was briefly shut down by the collapse of the Key Bridge when it was hit by a container ship earlier this year. And it handles the nation's largest volume of auto ports. Further down the coast, we have the Port of Charleston that handles outgoing shipments of SUV made at BMW factory in South Carolina, which exports more vehicles overseas than any other U.S. factory. There hasn't been an ILA strike against these ports since 1977. That has been a long time, and hopefully this one will not occur as well. Now, moving on, the union has pledged to continue to handle military cargo even during a strike, and said that passenger ships also will not be affected. All tankers and ships carrying liquefied natural gas usually go to other facilities that are not affected by strike, but almost all the other ports along the two coasts could be affected. The cost of the strike is likely to be limited if it is relatively short. Hopefully, it will not happen at all. But a prolonged strike of weeks or more could be a severe economic blow. Now, the USMX calls the union's demands unreasonable. Thursday, it announced it had filed an unfair labor practice complaint with the National Labor Relations Board, seeking to get the union to return to in-person negotiations, although that filing is more for show, considering that it is virtually impossible for the labor regulator to act before Monday night's deadline. Now, they remain prepared to bargain at any time. It states both sides must come to the table if they are going to reach a deal. And there's no indication that the ILA is interested in negotiation at this time, unfortunately. Now, the USMX has offered upwards of 40% in wage increase over a 6-year contract. A person with knowledge of the negotiations have stated the ILA is reportedly asking for raises of $5 an hour per year, which would be an immediate 12.8% pay hike on the current top pay of $39 an hour. Repeating that $5 an hour increase each year would result in raises totaling 77% during the life of the contract. The union says it has continued to talk with the USMX, just not face-to-face negotiations, and they are stating that they know what their demands are in order to get the deal done, and that any strike would be management's fault and not the union. Currently, the ILA members are not accepting what is being offered, and they are stating the offer is a joke, considering the billions of dollars that the companies are making off their hard labor. And finally, a one-day shutdown, it states, could take 3 to 5 days to recover from. The NRF is one of more than 200 business groups that has sent a letter to the White House asking President Joe Biden to intervene to prevent this strike from happening. Hopefully that will happen, because we are already suffering in this country with inflation and high prices. We do not need a strike right now. Make sure to share your comments with us, how you are feeling about this potential strike in the comments, and make sure to prepare just in case. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and come back for more breaking news updates that you can use. Bye-bye.